Hi, this is Dr. Andrews with a little lecture for you all today on play. We all know that there's play everywhere and the importance of play, especially spontaneous play by young children. The big word for play being ludic behavior. But do we know why and do we know how? So, a long time ago, some very smart women wanted to research stages of play to see how play really evolved within children and to see what happened when children played. I will tell you, though, that until about the 1800s, children's play was considered something of a waste of time because children were considered little adults and as such should be put to work and given lots of chores. And even as recently as the 1920s, we heard about sweatshops, but did you know that they still exist? So in the 1930s, a woman named Mildred Parton, in a very famous study, developed what she thought were 6 categories of play by watching children. And it started out with unoccupied behavior, and that's really a baby. If you think about a baby who lays in a crib and doesn't do anything, that is unoccupied behavior. The child is still playing, it's just a very passive, undirected, unpurposeful play. As the child gets older and has more control over his ability to react with his environment, especially after those Piagetian tertiary circular reactions, which you may or may not remember from Psych 11. The child actually plays alone. There's no other children around the child, usually we say within about a yard, and the child is happily digging in the sand or eating his toes completely on his own. Then, as the child starts to realize that there are other children who do things that look a lot of fun, and the parents might be pushing him in the stroller, he engages in something known as onlooker play. Onlooker play is where we also derive our own satisfaction by watching others engage in these behaviors. And soon we tend to inch closer and closer within just a few inches of other children, and that we call parallel play. Parallel play because the two lines will never cross. So it might be 2 children digging in sand simultaneously alongside each other, but never really interacting. From there, the child realizes that if we, do interact, and we associate, maybe either verbally or sharing our tools, etc., that we can actually go a little bit further, and so associative play evolves. And finally, according to Mildred Parton, the last stage of play is cooperative or organized play, and that's where each child takes an active role to make the play for everybody even better by collaborating. So let's all dig a tunnel to China. I remember doing that when I was little. Or let's all play house, and you'll be the mommy, and I'll be the daddy, and you be the dog, and you be the little sister, and you be the doctor. So that is as according to Mildred Parton. There was another woman, though, who took over after Mildred Parton and started to try to replicate her research. Her name was Sarah Smolansky in the 60s. But she said that play actually has 4 stages and really reflects a child's cognitive understanding about the world around them. And so for her, play really took on these 4 stages, which were first functional play or practice play. And this is where a child simply learns how to bounce a ball, or the child simply learns how to catch a ball, but they don't really do anything with it because their eyes have to have the ability to track and their hands have to have the ability to catch, etc. From there, we go on to constructive play, and that's where I now can play and actually not just learn how to manipulate materials, but I can actually use them to create something. From there, the child goes on to dramatic or symbolic play, very much like Piaget again. And here I do make-believe. And finally, we have games with rules, and that would be things like handball, foursquare, basketball, and things like that. Now, think about this, and we're going to have a discussion this week on play. What do you think play is actually getting us ready for? So, for example, when we're doing onlooker play, right? We're just watching other people. How many times have you watched play on TV? I like to watch tennis. Other people might like to watch golf, although God knows I have no idea why. No judgment there. But especially games with rules. What are we setting the children up for when we set up activities or games and play, or when we just put out lots of materials and let them go on their own? What do you think the actual purpose of all of that is for a child who then one day becomes, we'll say, 18 years old. This has been a pleasure. Until next time, this is Dr. Andrews, and go on to the discussion.